All right, welcome students. This is Drawing One. I'm Rick Weaver. What I want to do in this first video is talk to you guys a little bit about just working at home. You're taking a beginning class and there's a lot of information that's going to be new to you, and so it's important that you create an environment at home that is not part of the challenge, that you can count on as being a place of calm and order, so that you can just deal with the drawing principles and not have other influences that you're struggling with. So what I'm going to try to do today is just give you some general principles to think about as you're setting up at home. It's going to be a little bit different for each of you because you've all got different living situations. But again, we'll talk about these principles, and then we can talk later in the Zoom meetings about any particular challenges you're having in sort of making these things happen, getting at these principles. And then we'll also look briefly at your materials today, and I'll introduce you to those. So the first step is to find a place in your apartment or your house that is relatively quiet, has decent lighting, that you can count on as being available to you when you need to use it. Ideally, it's a place where you can set your art supplies up and not have to move. But in any case, just finding an area that's not sort of away from all of the daily disturbances that happen in a household is ideal. The next thing that you're going to want to do is to find some kind of a table. We're going to be doing a lot of our drawings from still life objects, and so you're going to need a surface to work on, and how high that surface is depends on whether you're standing or sitting. I prefer that you stand, which I'll talk about in a moment, but if you're sitting, that's fine too. But the surface should be below your eye level, like not up too high, but not down way too low, right? So this surface here is about the height of my hip, which is kind of nice. By the time you move away from it, you're not looking really steeply down on the object that you're drawing. So you just have to kind of figure that out, how that will work in your particular house. The other thing that you're going to need are some still life objects. So these are not things that you need to buy. A lot of the things that you have around the house will work, and I will give you more descriptions later about the kinds of things to look for each particular exercise that we're working on. It's also important to have some kind of covering for the tabletop that you're working on, both on the ground plane and the wall plane behind the object. Something simple that makes the whole area look visually quiet, like you don't want like a really busy pattern that's happening behind the object you're trying to draw. So something like an old bed sheet like this, it just creates a simple ground plane value, and wall plane value behind it is ideal. All right, the next thing that you'll need is something to put your drawing paper on. And here I've got an easel, which is ideal. I realize that most of you will not have easels. You don't have to buy an easel. But let me run through the principles with an easel, and then you can probably figure out a way to duplicate some of these principles. So it's important to have your drawing pad. And here I've got it to the drawing board, which I've asked you to get. You want a firm surface behind your drawing pad. And what I want to do when I set the paper up is to make sure that the center of the page is somewhere around my eye level. A little bit below is fine. So in this case, here's my eye level, just simply the physical level of my eyes, and the center of the paper is a little bit below that. All right, so that gives me a good height to work from. The principle we're going for here is to make sure that you can see the page in as objective a manner as possible, so that you're not looking really steeply down at it or up at it, because then that's going to change your perception of the proportions that you're creating here. So if you're getting a very foreshortened view by having this really low, then you're not getting an accurate read on what you're actually doing. So you want the page sort of up somewhere around your eye level. Okay. The nice thing about drawing standing up is it also allows you to get back and sort of maintain better objectivity of what's happening on here. So if you can duplicate this by setting this on another tabletop or against a wall, like a table on a wall, I'm not sure exactly what your situation is going to be, but situation where this gets up close to your eye level and then you're able to move back from it. Because a lot of the rhythm of working on a drawing is, making a mark and then being able to step back and see it objectively, not being sort of uptight against it. The other thing about that I want you to try to achieve with your drawing pad is to make sure that it's set up in a way so that not only can you move back, but so that your eye can move very easily between the page and what you're looking at. So there should be a very easy movement back and forth from your eye to the drawing object, or the object that you're drawing. Because a lot of what you're going to be doing is comparing what you're doing to what you're seeing. So if I've got this set up like this, and I have to continually kind of look around my pad to see the object that I'm drawing, that's not so good. I want this kind of free flow visually between my drawing surface and the thing that I'm drawing. Okay, so now I know, again, that not everybody's going to be able to stand and work. If you do sit down, you can do that by finding a couple of chairs, and you can set your pad up against the back of one chair. Find a low stool or chair so that you're set up like this. And again, you're reproducing a lot of the same principles. You've got the pad sort of close to your eye level. You can get back from the page by having a separate chair. And you would still set up in a way so that you could very easily look from here to there. All right. Now the tools that you'll be working with our primary drawing tool is going to be Conte Crayon, which looks like this. It's a stick, it's got a wax base to it, and because of that, it sticks to the paper, and it's a little difficult to erase, but that's okay. A lot of the drawings we're going to be doing are going to be sort of workmanlike drawings that we change a lot, and so we're not worried about a really pristine surface. When you hold the tool, I want you to hold it between your thumb and your first 2 or 3 fingers, like this. So you just lay it on your fingers, close your thumb over it. Okay. What that allows you to do is it allows you to stay back from the paper, to use the larger muscles of your arm and shoulder. If you hold it like a pencil, then the tendency is to pull you in too close to the page. It doesn't allow you to step back. You always want to be working so that you're kind of at a relaxed arm's length from your drawing, whether you're standing, whether you're sitting. You want to be kind of back, not straight arm, but just sort of a relaxed arm's length distance from the drawing. All right, so this is Conte Crayon. Your kneaded eraser. So this is kind of an old, tortured kneaded eraser. Yours will come in sort of a clean gray square. You will be working with a chamois cloth a little bit later, which helps to erase the Conte. You'll have a paper stump, which we'll use to blend the Conte a little bit later. Again. And then we're going to have 2 measuring tools that we'll use. One is just a stick, and this is something you don't have to buy. You've got a shish kebab skewer in your kitchen, you can use that, or a knitting needle, something that's long and has a unified width to it that doesn't vary in width along its length. And then a plumb line, again, something you can make, just a string with a weight on the end of it, and that's going to allow us to get a perfect vertical. Okay, so those are the supplies. So that kind of wraps it up for this first video. Again, I went over it kind of quickly, so any questions that you have, we can address at our first Zoom meeting on Tuesday. Look forward to speaking with you then.